Hello.
Hi,
Hello,
everyone.
everyone.
There we go. Coming online here. Hey, Sam, good to see you. Been a while. All right, just gonna keep a window open. Oop, bing, bing.
Like a cup of tea or coffee or anything?
Oh, I just had some coffee, thanks.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, morning.
Morning,
Hey,
morning.
everyone.
We got Freddie here and the
Hey,
Doodles.
guys.
Oh, hi, Freddie.
Hey.
We're in the ashram in Vermont today.
Lovely.
We have a guest off camera a little bit, but he's over there.
Hello.
Hi.
Any of us now.
Excellent. Well, today is the Lunar New Year, beginning of a new lunar calendar. And particularly, I think there's been a lot of energy, just vibrant new year. I hope everybody else is feeling very similar. All right, I think the kind of flood of new participants is there. I was thinking about this. I need to figure out how to make someone a co-host eventually here. Yeah, especially as our gatherings get larger and larger. Just don't want to leave anybody in the waiting room. All right, happy to see everybody. This is the February 2024 Terasem gathering, and of course I am Swamiji. So would like to just welcome everybody into the space from everywhere you may be. And why I just want to kind of maybe open up the floor, maybe starting with some of our newest faces. And remind everybody this is recorded. Your participation is welcome but optional. And so I'm just going to go around calling on some people and asking them to maybe introduce themselves and go on from there.
I can start.
Yep, Jen.
So I'm Jen, and nice to see some new faces here. Things are going well for me. Gabriel and I have had a busy weekend, and just a lot of activity and synchronicity, and meeting people, and a lot of connections and connecting of people, and people connecting us to others. So when Gabriel was talking about a vibrant new year, I think he was alluding to a little bit of that too. So things are good on our end here. It's a little bit cloudy in Melbourne, Florida, but should be a nice day. And we have invitation to go to Chosen, which is in Sebastian today. And Gabriel, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about that. But one thing I committed to doing on every gathering was to read one of these cards from the Universal Truths deck that I picked up at the thrift store for 50 cents. But it's just like they're really great. And so I'll have Gabriel. Why don't you read it, Gabriel?
Absolutely. Heart. It is no coincidence that the word here is in the word heart. Stop and listen to the all-knowing voice within. The heart of a problem is always a problem of the heart. Open-heartedness is the key to a new life unfolding because it is ego-free and limitless. If we are ever going to witness peace, we must learn to follow our hearts. Our heartfelt feelings are the activation for our soul's ascension. If we follow our hearts more and our heads less, we will create a safer, more loving planet. Our world will then be infused with the light from the universal realm. Remember, the most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or touched. They must be felt by the heart.
Yes.
In other words, I would say
So fitting.
love is essential. I think that's what I hear in that. Excellent.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer. Yes. So going around, I'm just going to go as I see in the gallery. And if you're, don't have your screen on, raise your hand or something, because I'm only seeing the gallery right here. Derek, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Today I want to share today's Instagram post, the truth in today's Instagram post. It's 6.7.5. And it says, organize your life around the way of Terasem, and you will attain higher levels of Terasem. And so I was kind of thinking, like the way you were just kind of talking, like it's really about people. The heart of Terasem is really about people. And I'm kind of excited for the upcoming convocation, where we'll be revising the Truths of Terasem, and that the Truths of Terasem are like a living document. And that like when we change, it also change the truths. So all of our lives, all these get-togethers, all these gatherings, all these online experiences are all going into this collective, that we'll have for the next like 4 years. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yep. That's part of,
Yeah.
I think part of the energy going on. All right. Let's go to Mike Perry.
Okay, I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona with Alcor Foundation. And actually it's been, we had many cases. We had, I think it was 22 cases last year, quite a heavy load. We haven't had one except right around New Year's since then. It's been a little bit of a breather, but Alcor is still very busy. We're doing a lot of things. We're training certain people to act remotely if a member needs assistance somewhere. So these team members would go into action. And Alcor, I don't know if you people realize it, but we have a patient who's not at our headquarters, but is in Estes Park, Colorado, due to an interesting deal that was worked out. This gentleman had been frozen many years before, and his son had him in a town called Nederland, Colorado, a small town in the mountains, for many years. And each year, the town of Nederland had something called the Frozen Dead Guy Days celebration, okay? But last year, that was moved to a nearby town called Estes Park, a little bigger place, I think, than Nederland. But we wanted to have, well, long story short, this gentleman, Bredo Morstol, is now an Alcor patient, and he's maintained in a dewar with liquid nitrogen. He had been on dry ice in a small shed out in the mountains near Nederland, but now he's in a building. He's in his own dewar and everything. And so the Frozen Dead Guy Days celebration is going to be in the middle of March, and several Alcor staff people are going there, and I'm going to be one of those. So it's kind of busy. And just before that, we have the MIO meeting that you people are involved in. So March will be a busy one for me. But I'm happy to be involved like this. And I think very well at Terasem too.
Excellent. It's great. It's amazing. I mean, again, even for Alcor has been here for so long, but as you said, I mean, the rate of launches, and of cryonizations, both in the last year have their best year ever, right?
Yeah.
And we're only going to see that increase from here. And so I think that is the pace of change that I think we have all been aware and saying is coming. And I think that is part of this essence. I think this vibe that everybody seems to be feeling about this new year. So very exciting, very exciting. Ruben, what's going on? You're muted, sir. Yeah.
Oh, hello. Yes, yes. Everything fine here with very high temperatures, but well, very excited about the fact that in some days I will have the opportunity of meet you in person, many of the people that is in this gathering, and that is really very exciting. I am practicing my English in these days because, as you know, I miss some percentage of what is said in the conversation. I don't know, perhaps 20, 30%. My goal is to miss only 10% of what I listen. And well, I am in that way, everything okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful. Ivan.
Yeah, hi everybody from Berlin. We are definitely feeling this vibe of ever accelerating changes, and the future's in the air. I can feel it everywhere. So yeah, singularity is near. It's every day.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Yeah, absolutely. I often say, just to go off that, Terasem is about using our spirituality to get to where we want to be, right? And so rather than using it to believe about where we came from, something, we are projecting our spirituality into the world. And I think that's another way of what we mean by God is technological, and that life is purposeful, right? I think those two, have an entourage effect, to so to speak, there. Excellent. Well, so we have a lot of actually new people who this is their first time in here. So we generally do a round robin. It's an introduction. It began with playing music, which doesn't really work well over Zoom. But when we met in person, it would be a little drum circle. We might share some poetry, some art before getting into the reading and discussion. So next, I'm going to call on David. Great to see you. Is that your live background in New Hampshire?
It's not live, but it's right outside the house here, and it's started to melt a bit. That was more like last week. It's gotten really warm. It's I think about 40 today. That'll last for a short while. But yeah, been hearing a bit about you from Minara and Kevin and the group here, and so just thought I'd join in, check it out, see what it's all about.
Awesome. We're glad that you have, and we have been doing the gatherings for 20 years. COVID is why we went online, and I know that you're also participating in Frank White's overview. He started that roughly about the same time that we took these online. It is a very similar format, a very similar topic, and a very similar vibe that has come out of that, bringing a lot of people together. So yeah, welcome. Love to see that you're here. And then again, we of course have the connection of the National Space Society as well.
Yeah, look forward to a drum circle sometime.
Absolutely. All right, Karen, you're up next.
There. I actually have had not a good time. I've been hospitalized twice, and I pulled my maximum energy together to be here right this moment. I was laying down prior to it. So if I collapse and sit down during the meeting, I have been diagnosed with, AFib. A lot of people have, but the other thing that I've been diagnosed with, which is pretty crappy, is hyperthyroidism. And the meds are really, I think the meds are worse than the disease. So that's all happened within the last month, both hospitalizations and the diagnoses and working it out. So at some point, I can stand up for a certain amount of time, but then I'll have to sit down, but I'll still be listening to everything. And that's my current situation, but I wanted to absolutely check in here.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. Inara, you're up next. Thank you, Karen.
Morning, everyone. So I don't know, we're just doing basic intros. Is that what it is today?
Yeah, just I mean, it originated with an art share, but yeah, it's just a welcome into the space if you choose.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so I'm a former foster child, a trans woman, and activist, and I work in the space industry. My goal is to humanize space, make it more accessible to as many people as possible, and to create a future that O'Neill would want to live in, to where everyone can go into space. And I also focus on becoming better now as a species before we get there, so we don't create the same problems we've created on Earth, moving into new zones really. I love this community. Terasem has been something I waited for my entire life. I went through as a foster kid, you go through lots of different identity crisis and cultures and religions, and I kind of tried everything out. And for me, this is a path forward, and that's exciting to me. So glad to be in this community and glad to see some new faces.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're so happy to have crossed paths with you, Nara. It's been great, and again, like David, it's just we keep in every circle we keep bumping into each other. It seems right. Yeah, so it's beautiful. All right, Sam, great to see you.
Hello, Gabriel. It's been a while. Happy New Year. You're a month late. I'm glad to be here. This was actually the first time in quite some time that the 10th actually fell on a weekend, which made it possible for me to actually attend, because otherwise I'm busy working. I'm loving the new energy of the new year, 2024. It feels like a lot of positive things are going to happen. I've positioned myself to kind of like do some really good things. So I'm glad to be here, and it's good to see everyone again.
Great. Absolutely. Love it. Love the energy.
And by the way, one more thing. I'm actually now in Davenport, Florida, Polk County.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Great. All right. So let's go up to the Vermont ashram.
Hello, everyone.
Guys,
Hello.
Bina here. Bina, Freddie, and our guest.
Oh, hey, I'm another Fred.
Fred and Freddie. So we're enjoying the Vermont weather, which is actually in the 40s. It's just the third mud season this year, so we're getting used to that. We're very excited about life because we know that love is essential.
yeah, it is.
We're having a good time up here with the doodles.
And we're excited to prepare for the
Quadrennial convocation coming up. Yeah, we're
That's
just
a
about
lot
ready
in my
to.
mouth this morning.
Yeah, we're ready to get down to Florida for that and get some warmth, thank goodness.
Yeah, get some more. So we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah.
Lovely. Awesome. All right. So if there is anybody who is not camera on or hasn't shared yet, you're welcome to pipe in. I am going to pull up the truths for us.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sean Graham here. I've had the pleasure of getting to hang with Gabriel and Jen on almost a very regular basis over the past several weeks. I see a couple familiar faces here, hey, Nara. And yeah, an honor to be able to join the community and just listen in. This is my first time, but looking to get more involved and see how we can help to spread the earth seeds and the vision of humanity across the universe. So thank you for being here, and much love, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. If not, then anyone else, hold your peace. And where's the screen? Oh, so it's, interesting. I mean, not that there was a, crazy chance that wasn't going to happen, but just as Anara said about, Gerard K. O'Neill, it just happened to be that's the graphic, right, that we are coming into. And I'm my controls are sorry blocking the here we go. All right, so we read a half of one section. We are in February, so we're going to read 1.6 through the end of the first section of Truths of Terasem. I generally will read through the first one and then just ask volunteers to come up and read the next sections. Side by side, my gallery here. Great. 1.6. Consciousness is the continuum of maturing abilities when healthy to be autonomous and empathetic with others. 1.6.1. Others determine your consciousness because we is one of the 4 dimensions of I. Time is important for consciousness because life occupies time as well as space. Haphazard thinking without capability for improvement is equivalent to a lack of autonomy. Empathy extends sentience and self-awareness to understanding the feelings of others. Reason, morality, and personal independence are the key elements of being autonomous. Synergism of empathy and autonomy yields a continuum of consciousness. And any volunteer?
I'm happy to read.
Anara, thank you.
1.7. Terasem flag symbols represent the values of our trans religion. Be accountable is symbolized by the dotted circles, self-accountability to surrounding Terasem centers of critical consciousness. Embrace diversity is symbolized by the blood red infinity sign, infinite diversity within a common biological heritage. Respect autonomy is symbolized by the digital spelling of joy, consciousness transcends biology and technology. Talk openly is symbolized by the sky blue background, translucence of clear atmosphere and deep space. Help others is symbolized by the number and size of dotted circles. We grow with assistance. Always be open is symbolized by infinity's multidimensionality. Realities are part of larger realities.
Another volunteer for 1.8, please.
I could volunteer or somebody. Shall I do it?
Let's have Ruben do this. He needs to practice his English.
Okay, thank you. 1.8. I has 4 dimensions: me, we, she, and T. The me of I is one's totality of mannerisms, personality, recollections, feelings, beliefs, attitudes, and values. The we of I is the version of ourselves in the minds of others. The T of I is a time cone of a being's existence. The chi of I is the unique pattern of a being's energy flows. Each dimension of I may serve as a template for cyber resurrection of me of I. Authoring selves recreates one's mannerisms, personality, recollections, feelings, beliefs, attitudes, and values until Turing equivalence is achieved.
Beautiful. All right, moving on to 1.9. Mike Perry, would you like to read that one?
Yes, 1.9. Vitals transcend biology and cybernetics. Vitalogical life is a continuum of diverse infotechnology from mostly biological to mostly cybernetic. Information coded in DNA makes biological life inherently cybernetic because it is an extrapolation of code. Teaching via software makes cybernetic life inherently biological because it is an extrapolation of flesh experience. Autonomy and empathy differentiate conscious vitals from unconscious life. Life is not what you are made of, but is what you make of it. Sentience sings from several kinds of substrate, each of which may give rise to conscious life. I wonder if you meant sentience springs from several kinds of substrate. Anyway, endogamous.
That's the next section.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry.
No problem.
I
So
tell you, I'm focused so much on reading, that I didn't look at the numbers. That's
yeah.
the way my brain works, unfortunately.
Well, so I mean, as we approach the convocation, I mean, it's a you know, a timely thing to notice that this one is not formatted as you know, everything is. So normally that one would be, I guess, you know, tabbed in.
Yeah.
And so
Right, I just
it's easy to roll right into it. But again,
saw the numbers. I didn't see any tabbing over. Yeah, that's right.
yeah. You know, as Derek says, you know, everything is in a state of flux, and that is why we allow, you know, for the quadrennial convocation, to, you know, update our conversation. And you know, this is you know, a you know, one thing that clearly can, you know, can be noted for that convocation.
A
All
quick
right.
question.
Is it
Yes,
Sings
yes.
or Springs?
A quick question, Gabriel.
Yes.
Hey, when is this convocation? I had a hard time finding online when it was. What it is this month, I guess. Is that right?
Absolutely, yes. So the convocation always begins on the leap day. So February
Leap
29th
day,
every
the
4 years.
29th of February.
Yeah, the 29th of February.
Okay.
Always begins the 29th of February and ends on March 4th.
Okay. I wonder also if there's any possibility of any Zoom attendance for those of us that, I mean, it would be, I have a lot of trips, and it's just so much to go out there and all that.
It is.
Possibilities of that.
I also am disappointed. I mean, I'm very happy this happened, but I will be missing Ben Gortzel's AI conference in Panama.
Yeah.
I you know, but you know, again, everything's happening. It's great. There's so much going on. You know, we've had to, you know, choose from like a number of hard choices in almost all throughout the weekend, particularly right now. There's yeah, certainly a vibrancy happening.
But back to his question, I think we're gonna try
The
to do.
question is, can I go in by Zoom?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yes, absolutely. I haven't so in the schedule of the convocation, there are some times that will be open to Zoom. I haven't published you know, widely that schedule, and really we should determine which one of those times that we really want you know, to be able to publish for those who can't be here in person, to really, you know, kind of participate and do that. So I will, you know, shortly communicate, you know, the times that will be open for Zoom, so that you guys can plan to try to be there. I'm very happy that, you know, that it's, you know, important that people are interested.
Okay.
All right, and then we have or sorry, Inara, you said Sings or Springs, and I
You could
believe
look
that
at it either way, I think, but
absolutely, absolutely, right.
I like
mean,
Sing better, honestly.
I think Sings in this case was intentional, even though both, you know, could really say the same thing in that case. It's interesting how they are different, but there's a, you know, the essence almost, you know, it doesn't really change the whole thing.
For me, Sing really talks about like vibration and sound, and that's, for me, that's the more magical one for sure. And it really makes sense.
Right. And I mean, I think in the way that what you think what singing is a spring from your heart. I mean, almost quite literally, right? I mean, to us, you know, we don't really see it, but we are springing quite literally moisture, you know, running out straight from our hearts. And I think that any river is the earth singing to us in that same way.
Well, and so many cultures and so many religions talk about, you know, life being created by a sound or by a voice or by a command or the magical Om. So all that is just this beautiful song.
Yes. Yes. Lovely. I love
I'm
it.
smiling because there's so many connections to the card heart. And I just remembered also that it's Valentine's Day. And so just a synchronicity,
Aww.
Valentine's Day is coming up next week, and just how awesome it was that you picked heart. Sorry.
Yeah,
Hear the singing of the heart.
Yes, exactly.
absolutely. The synchronicity, it's everywhere. All right, a final volunteer for 110.
Me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, is it endogamous? Is that how you pronounce it? Endogamous?
I'll take it.
Endogamous offspring, such as cyber communities, will grow inside Terasem until the universe is endogenous to Terasem. It only takes one soul of any vitology to start a Terasem center of critical consciousness. Nothing can stop the relentless spread of intelligence through the universe. Self-replicating systems are the key to wrapping intelligence around the universe. Instill the principles of geoethics in all self-replicating systems. Diversity is the fruit of endogeny in the nursery of Terasem. Encourage the formation of Terasem centers of critical consciousness, C3, everywhere.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you everybody for your participations in the reading. And I will stop the screen share, go back to the full gallery. And any thoughts, commentary, discussion, based off of the truths today. And we did have a few people join us in that time. So just now open conversation on thoughts, connections, meanings from today's truth. Kevin Russell, I see your hand up. Yeah, welcome.
Can you hear me on this camera?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, sorry, I switched from phone to this. I really love the fact that you do this, first of all. And when I connected, a couple of months ago, I was on YouTube doing some gardening and listening to your all's, I think maybe December, October. I was thinking this is so great for folks who fly in and don't know really a lot about it, because you get the basis. And so I love the fact that you do this. It's great. And it should be part of, I'm so glad you've been doing this for so long. So I really appreciate that. So thank you. This is my first meeting. I'm glad to be here.
That's, that's beautiful. And again, I think what I hear from that is, what we have done, is we've opened up and we've put a spring out into the world. So people, just as Sam mentioned, it's not always convenient, to be here, but many people, above and beyond those who are participating are listening, are hearing, they are appreciative, they're resonating. This is, causing them to reflect on, their place in the world and the opportunities, the possibilities that, the old programming did not allow us to see. And, yeah.
I got another thing, that the thing you're doing on Discord, where you're building the philosophy inside the AI visualization, that's the best use of that I've seen anywhere on the net. Here's what we think, here's what it might look like. Because that ability to open that lens, no one's doing that on the net. So that's great. Anyway, props.
Yeah.
I just hear a grateful heart from Kevin.
Absolutely.
I love the emphasis on joy too. And that really makes me happy. This idea of joyful diversity and the fact that you can't stop human consciousness from getting into the cosmos. It's our path forward. That really, it brings me hope. I think, today is about joy and hope for sure.
Yeah. We went to a prayer breakfast recently. There is a project going on here in Florida called the Founders Monument. And this is, we hear all this with the taking down of Confederate, statues. And, actually here in Florida, they just passed the bill preventing local cities from removing, Confederate statues, which is wild. And right here on the Space Coast, the city of Melbourne was actually founded as Crane Creek by 3 freed slaves who walked off lots of land, and literally themselves, they built this community, the first church, the first grocery store, the first postal service, all the first hospital, all this area they did. and there is no signage to them around here. You know, their grandchildren are you know, dying off, and you know, the memories are getting lost and fragmented along the ways. What's really tragic though is that there is quite a lot of signage, historical signage, to the Confederate settlers, the ones that during the Civil War, you know, fled from the North, their plantations of military hardware, and they landed here at the port of O'Galley. And there is signage to them from O'Galley all the way up to Titusville. And the Black founders who were just to the south of them have quite literally, so the schoolhouse they built was burnt to the ground. Right. So, you know, they've literally tried to remove this history, as they had with the Seminoles, Muskegon. And so it's a very important, and I've been very touched by this initiative, and you know, become good friends with that committee, and particularly Mr. McNeil, who's leading that effort. So I highly encourage people to visit foundersmonument.org. It is something that is very, you know, very similar to our endracism.org website, which was the first online museum. Going back to Kevin's point, it's 30 something years old, the very first online, you know, museum. And so this Founders Monument, you know, project, I think is very much in line with those efforts.
And what was the other website? So I've got foundersmonument.org, and what was the other online museum?
Endracism.org, and that is,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know, our own link tree, right? Yeah, but so I say they're just, it's actually very similar efforts. So I definitely want to bring attention to that, so everyone is aware.
Is that something that Terasem could do as far as a movement? So, you know, there's this movement to tear down statues, but you're talking about this deficit where there are these people who aren't being highlighted that did amazing things. Could we start a movement across the country where we could highlight similar stories? Because I'm sure this is not the only situation where these great things happen and it's just being erased. So could we start a movement where we encourage people to dig into local history and kind of secure that information? It could be kind of an extension of Life Not. You know, the idea that this information should be elevated and should be visible.
Absolutely. This is that, you know, that is a perfect line of implementation of, you know, life is purposeful, God is technological, and that death is optional, because what we are doing here is making history alive again. And I see myself coming back to this with planning of 3-2-1 day, you know, here in Brevard. It's the struggle is often is that we become, you know, it's old, dusty, you know, falls apart here in the corner. How do we walk in the shoes of the people who've made the mistakes, you know, that have already been made, so we don't have to repeat those same mistakes, so we can move a little bit farther forward, right? And I think that's beautiful. That's what, you know, the Seder, which we will be beginning the convocation. Normally March 10th, we do the Freedom Seder. But for the first time, and I think it's, you know, setting to African-American History Month, at least here in the United States, that the last day of, we're also beginning the convocation. We do our Freedom Seder, which again is right in line here with the telling of the exodus of slavery and incorporating and how the Seder allows you to experience it through the bitter taste, you know, and the dry crackers and but so what we've done with that is tell the African American story of Exodus, you know, from the Jim Crow South, which is, you know, an equal, if not greater, biblical proportions, you know, to the exodus from Egyptian slavery. And that is something that we need to tell and remember, as, you know, not just the Jewish Holocaust, but, you know, the genocides that are happening, that happened and have happened everywhere. Terasem is a ways of preserving and projecting that history. Bina, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, as we take, I'm just taking this back to the Truths of Terasem. So 1.7.2 is embrace diversity. And I like to invite everybody to embrace more diversity in their life, because it seems to me we're segregating in all kind of different ways. And look behind Ivan, you see that red infinity symbol. is the sign for diversifying. And I think it's just really, it's really important to all of us. It seems to me sometimes it's just people that may be somewhat so-called minorities. I don't believe people are colors or anything like that, but they're the ones fighting for things. It should be all of us fighting so we can all manage life together in a beautiful way. I mean, look at this Gerard K. O'Neill's High Frontier. I mean, that Martine and I met because of that. Martine wanted to be mayor of Space City and I was going to be first lady. You know, we were going to space. That was all there was to it. And then things have changed and so many years have gone by and we still have this symbol. Gabe, it's probably, are you guys in the ashram? It's probably right back there, the Gerard K. O'Neill symbol that has this and has it's in the back by the yoga mat. You know, it has
wait, no, the satellite.
The little city, yes, you can see inside of it. You see a little city and everything in there. It's amazing. We've been on this track for many, many years. And it's unfortunate that now we're getting older and we never will be a mayor of Space City, but you know, we're still gonna try to push other people to get there. So how does everybody feel about that? Human colonies in space. There it is. And if you turn it to the inside, you can see there's cities and mountains and all kind of things inside there. Can't see it well. It's really small.
Yeah, the lighting's not good.
Yeah.
That's my whole goal in life. My whole goal in life is to live in space.
Yeah. Well, I can't say that because we already live in space. We're in space now. We're
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Maybe my goal is to live on a ship that's more consciously piloted. On planet Earth, we're kind of just going where we're going.
Saving humanity by being out there and spreading our seed.
I've always looked forward to living in space, out beyond this space.
Yes.
Yeah. You know,
I was able to go to one of O'Neill's lectures back in around early 80s sometimes at Embry-Riddle.
I've actually been quoted in a couple books decades ago. I'm 75, so I get to say decades ago, talking about eventually living in space. And like Mina said, beyond this space, we're in space here.
Absolutely. I often like to imagine that this barrier island here on the Space Coast is like the proto colony, because as you know, Gerard O'Neill explains that the cylinder itself would kind of be like Carmel by the Sea, or essentially a long barrier island where if one end's reconnected with the other, it's very thin, but very long in that way. And so I do feel that in the blueprint of our evolution, that there are many seeds or archetypes that we are building from along the way. And so here, I mean, it's interesting. Embry-Riddle is just to the north. This island is, pretty much everything running south, from there, and the spaceport. And, I truly believe that the community that is growing here on this island around the spaceport, is what the colony is, the origin seed, right, of all those literally people working in space, the astronauts, like the people most attracted to that, they're all coming here, and so this community, I think, really is the true early starting point of the people who will occupy those colonies. And the energy that we've seen, it's happening so much quicker, so we still seem to feel like this is like way out here, but this year we are going to see, I truly believe, like the new Glenn start launching, and we will have China, and is doing very successful things with their reusability, India as well. So that pace of change, I think, is going to surprise many people, even some of us, by what the world is going to look like even next year at this time. And I think it's very suiting that today is not just Valentine's Day, but the Lunar New Year. because I have been, articulating that the answer to Fermi's paradox is not, that there isn't other life. It's not about there not being life out there. What is truly perhaps unique in the, in the development is the consistency, this long safe period. I mean, and everywhere else you may be experiencing chaotic periods like the three-body problem, it explains. And so it's the perfect synchronicity of our moon that creates this understanding and ability of time for us to project ourselves in a progressive way. And that as we get out into the universe, we will find life that is very familiar to us, but we may not ever find a moon orbiting in perfect synchronicity with a planet in the Goldilocks zone in the way that is, so it's not our biology, but it is, our relation to the moon that is truly the unique aspect that drove our intelligence.
I love that. I was with Liftport for a while with Michael Lane, and he talked about, his whole thing is building this moon elevator. And he was at a talk one time, and some lady said, "How dare you put things on my moon? How dare you clutter my moon?" And he was like, "What's she not getting about this?" He didn't really connect with that. And then afterwards, she came up to him after the talk, and they had a conversation. It changed his entire perspective. And she said, the moon is the only thing we have in common as a species. We all look up and we see the exact same moon. Depending on where you are on the planet, you don't see the same stars. We can't stare at the sun. So the moon is kind of this depository of like human will and an understanding of our place in the cosmos. It's, the stars are great, but the moon is right there. And it's really this constant reminder. So I think we have to be conscious of that connection that we have for sure. And as we go forward into space, we'll need to build those same sort of conscious connections. That's why I call the moon the eighth continent. It's a way of just helping remind us that we're so deeply connected to it.
Yeah, seventh, but
So,
I love it being a continent, but not the eighth.
Yeah. So in Europe, we've got 4, 5, and 6. I always say eighth because I'm talking to Americans, but I'm with you on that completely. I think Africa, Asia, and Europe are one major supercontinent. I hate that it's so segmented.
Well, one thing I forget who said the quote, but if God intended us to explore the universe, He would have given us a moon. And that idea of it provides that launch pad and that protection. And we were talking about that cosmic timer, and that consistent, not only body that's protecting us, but it's giving us something to look forward to inspire us, to create these mysteries of eclipses and whatnot. And I feel, I'm a recent transplant to the Space Coast and have become one of the biggest fanboys around because I see so much of this, like such a small community has made such a massive impact, not only on a global level, but now on a intergalactic level as we're going out to explore. And I do think that moon is that next launch pad, but it's also looking at how we've got these launch pad communities on planet Earth today that are really, pushing us into the future. And it's not just the continents and the countries and the states of traditional history, but also the network states such as this that really bring people together and the power together to go out and explore new things. That's why I'm very inspired by this and appreciative of the chance to meet people such as yourselves as we can co-create new worlds together. And that's what I love about this kind of stuff.
Beautiful.
Hey, well, speaking of February 10th and things on a February 10th, could I share a screen for a moment?
Yes, I think that you should have that ability.
Let me see. It looks like it's going to
While you're doing that, Sam, I saw your hands.
So it's going to let me do that.
I was just going to say that all of this talk about colonizing space just made me realize that I haven't listened to psychedelic music in quite some time, so I need a fix. That's all.
Yeah.
Good.
Come over, go to the YouTube channel, and the AI dictated truths with the, everything, I think is, a great background. All right, David, what do we got here?
Okay, so yeah, I found actually the ad for the O'Neill talk that I got to February 10th, 1982.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Today.
Crazy.
That's the year I was born.
And
That's the year I was born too.
And I have located a cassette recording that I made.
This might have been why I was born.
So Gabriel,
the timing works.
this would have been, I would have been, let me think here, 18 days old when this happened. I was born on January 23rd. So yeah.
Oh.
I'd love to hear that recording if you put it online or if you digitize it.
Yeah, hey David, if you want me to restore it with some AI, I can make it. Yeah,
that would be great. I've actually got 2 cassette tapes of it. I think I had 2 recorders going so that I wouldn't miss it when I flipped the tape over or something like that. One's a little better than the other, so but between the 2, and I've digitized the 2, maybe we could at least get a reasonable copy from it. It was really interesting. He was talking about autonomous cars, and you need a car to go someplace, need a ride. You could get an autonomous car, could be flagged, and you could come get it, and it would take you around. You didn't need parking in cities when you're riding around all over the world, and all the hope for the shuttle. The only big mistake in it is he believed NASA's expectation that shuttle would bring the cost of launch down, and it really didn't do that well. But it's very interesting. A lot of stuff we see today, he really forecast in that, and that was I think that was just either after or before his release of his book 2081.
Well, if you don't know about Mazdar,
Anyway,
Mazdar
I just
fits,
thought
fits a lot of that.
that you
I
might
just put a link
find
there.
that interesting. It's online. It's on the Avion from I'd say February 3rd, 1982.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Great.
Fascinating. So I picked up a couple other gems in there. There was an article about, there was a new wing design, that they were talking about in there. And then that top 10, list of, I guess the top 10 songs, including one by Gil Scott Heron, Reflections. So it's incredible,
So that was 1 year before I graduated from UF in Gainesville.
Wow.
Full circle.
And about 4 years after I started the first L5 chapter in Jacksonville and a second one in Gainesville.
Yep.
Anyway, just thought that might be interesting with the coincidence of February 10th.
Thank you.
That is, so also, going all the way back, Jennifer and I are 2/3 of the current, L5 chapter for Florida, which is the Florida Space Development Council, a chapter of the National Space Society. We've literally are the, the successors of, what you started in at the University of Florida. And there are others, again, like Ozzy Osbourne, who, have held that hat and passed that, it down, and it is really, he saw that vision of 321, and then we need that as an area code. That helped establish a branding or a community called the Space Coast, right? Because we launched here, they launched other places, but no one had given it a name yet at that point. He gave us a name, and that is after 40 years later, here we are coming out of the wilderness into the promised land.
And my parents lived in Vieira for a number of years. I remember they were there when they changed, I think, what was it, 407 to 321? Yeah. They were thrilled. Yeah, they were thrilled. I don't think they really knew much about the story of how it happened. I don't remember
Did you
hearing
say
much about
Ozzy
it.
Osbourne?
Well, so Robert Osborne,
Oh, okay.
but we called him Ozzy the Rocket Hobo.
Oh, okay. I was like Ozzy Osbourne in space. I don't know about that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we're coming down to the final moments, and so if there are some more thoughts and shares, let's throw them on the table now. This will be the last recording before the convocation, and so all of these thoughts, ideas will be reviewed and absorbed into the convocation. Sam, I see you.
Convocation, is that going to be held virtually or in person?
So there'll be a mix of both, and
Okay.
because it's over a period of 5 days, it's very kind of decentralized and whatnot. I do have a kind of a flow agenda. This will, I mean, of course, be the largest convocation we've ever, the most active, interactive convocation we've ever had. Terasem as an organization, Terasem Movement Transreligion, is also 20 years old. We were founded in 2004 as an organization, so 2024 is the 20th anniversary of our trans religion. And so, again, it's all the more reason for celebration, and seeing the maturing growth that watering this earth seed is creating.
And I'll be speaking at the Eclipse Fest. So anyone want to be at the Eclipse Fest? Anyone here will be there?
That's in April, right?
It is in Texas. Well, I guess there's actually all kinds of things happening for the eclipse. The one I'm going to is in Texas, the ctexaseclipse.com. But I think it's a really amazing opportunity to highlight Terasem and this, physical kind of sun moment.
What date in April is the eclipse?
I want to say it's the 8th. Yeah, let me just put the link here in the chat. I just love the idea of getting us into these kind of organic networking connection points.
Yeah, I'll also be there and speaking both on from an Earthlight perspective as well as from Carmen Line perspective, and so happy to help represent our intentions out there.
Fantastic.
Okay, well, we are coming down to the final moments of the February satsang, and we always close with some meditation and some breathing. Inspiration is breathing. It's literally, that's what it means. So find some comfortability, roll your shoulders out, maybe your neck. Begin a concentration on your breath. I am inhaling for 3 and exhaling for 3. Let's inhale for 3 and exhale for 3. And let's continue. Breathe each other in, breathe each other out. Sync our breathing, sync our souls.
Sync our hearts.
Sync our minds. I am you. You am I. We are one. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And let's do a quick screenshot since we've got everybody right here. If your camera's not on, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Yeah. Love everybody. Thank you for participating. Thank you for being here.
Have a great rest
Have a good one.
Absolutely.
Welcome to all the newcomers.
Everybody.
Go forth.
Mhm.